Hello everyone, and welcome back to our B2 English lesson series. I'm Emma, and as always, I'm here with my fantastic co-teacher, Jake. How are you today, Jake?
I'm doing great, Emma. Hi everyone. I'm really excited about today's lesson because, honestly, this is one of those grammar points that completely transformed the way I express myself in English.
That's a strong statement, Jake. Tell us more.
Well, today we're learning about cleft sentences. These are special structures we use when we want to add emphasis to one specific part of our message. They help us highlight the most important information.
Exactly. And you'll hear native speakers using these structures all the time. They're incredibly common in everyday conversation. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to use them too.
Our target vocabulary today includes 5 very useful words: emphasis, focus, highlight, stress, and clarify. All of these words actually describe what cleft sentences do.
So let's begin with the grammar. Jake, imagine I say to you, I need a holiday. That's a normal sentence, isn't it?
Right, it's a basic statement. Subject, verb, object. Nothing special.
Now listen to this version. What I need is a holiday. Can you hear the difference?
Wow, yes. The second one feels much stronger. The focus shifts directly onto the holiday. It's like you're really pushing that idea forward.
Precisely. That's a cleft sentence. The word cleft simply means split or divided. We split one sentence into 2 parts to put extra emphasis on something. The most common pattern is what plus subject plus verb, is or was, plus the thing we want to highlight.
So if I say I want to clarify the rules, that's neutral. But if I say what I want to clarify is the rules, suddenly the listener knows exactly where my focus is.
Beautiful example. There's also another type called the it cleft. For instance, it was Jake who forgot the keys.
Hey, why am I always the one forgetting things in your examples?
Because it makes a memorable example, Jake. The point is, by saying it was Jake, I'm putting all the emphasis on you, not on the keys or the action.
Okay, fair enough. So we have 2 main types. The what cleft, like what I love is chocolate, and the it cleft, like it was Emma who taught me this. Both add stress to a particular element.
Perfect summary. Now let's hear these structures in a real conversation.
Emma, you look exhausted. Long day?
Oh, you have no idea. What I need right now is a strong cup of tea and absolute silence.
That bad? What happened at work?
3 meetings back to back. And what really frustrated me was the last one. Nobody could clarify what we were actually deciding.
That sounds painful. So it was the lack of clarity that bothered you, not the meetings themselves?
Exactly. What I dislike is wasting time. Meetings are fine when there's a clear focus.
I totally understand. You know, what I do in those situations is ask one direct question to bring everyone back to the main point.
That's a brilliant strategy. What I should have done was exactly that. Instead, I just sat there getting more and more annoyed.
Well, it was probably the long day that made it harder to speak up. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Thanks, Jake. What I appreciate about you is that you always know what to say.
And what I appreciate about you is your honesty. Now, go get that tea.
Lovely. Let's slow down and analyze what just happened. Jake, can you spot the cleft sentences we used?
Sure. You started with what I need right now is a strong cup of tea. The structure puts the heavy emphasis on the tea and the silence.
Yes. Without the cleft, I just say I need tea and silence. The cleft version sounds more emotional, more deliberate. It really highlights what I want.
Then you said what really frustrated me was the last one. That's another what cleft, but with frustrated as the verb.
Notice that I added the word really. We often add words like really, actually, or genuinely inside a cleft to increase the emphasis even more.
That's a great tip. And I used an it cleft when I said it was the lack of clarity that bothered you. That structure puts the focus on the cause.
Excellent observation. The it cleft is wonderful for identifying which thing is responsible. Listeners immediately understand where the stress lies.
Let me try one more. What I should have done was exactly that. Here, I'm using a cleft to express regret about a past action.
Yes, and this is a very natural use. We often combine cleft sentences with modal verbs to add reflection or regret. What I should have said, what I could have done, what I would have chosen.
Quick question, Emma. Can I say what I need are some new shoes? With or instead of is?
Interesting question. Many speakers actually keep is even when the noun that follows is plural. So what I need is some new shoes sounds completely natural. Both versions are heard, but is tends to dominate in spoken English.
Good to know. Now let's try another conversation. This time about something Jake got wrong on purpose, so Emma can clarify the structure.
So Jake, tell me about your weekend.
Well, I really enjoyed my weekend is what?
Hold on, Jake. That word order isn't quite right. Try starting with what?
Oh, sorry. What I really enjoyed was my weekend. Better?
Much better. Now the emphasis is clear and the structure flows naturally. What did you do?
It was a hike in the mountains what I did.
Careful. Mixing the two cleft types confuses the listener. Pick one. Either an it cleft or a what cleft.
Got it. What I did was a hike in the mountains. Or I could say it was a hike in the mountains that made my weekend special.
Both perfect. The second version really highlights the hike as the source of the joy. Did anyone go with you?
Yes. It was my brother who came along. And what I loved most was the silence at the top of the mountain.
Beautiful. You're using cleft structures very naturally now. Notice how the focus shifts each time, depending on what you want to stress.
What I find amazing is how one small change in word order can completely change the impact of a sentence.
That's the magic of English emphasis. Now let's look at our vocabulary in detail. Our first word is emphasis. This noun means the special importance we give to something when speaking or writing. We say put emphasis on or place emphasis on something.
For example, in my last lesson, the teacher placed strong emphasis on pronunciation. Or, what I want to put emphasis on is the importance of practice.
Lovely. And the verb form is emphasize, with an S in British spelling and AZ in American. I want to emphasize that cleft sentences add emphasis. So you can see, the noun and verb work together beautifully.
Next is focus. Focus can be a noun or a verb. As a noun, it means the central point of attention. The focus of the meeting was the new project. As a verb, it means to direct attention. Focus on your goals.
And cleft sentences are wonderful for shifting focus. What I want to focus on today is grammar. The focus of this lesson is emphasis. Notice how often we naturally use focus when discussing emphasis.
Our third word is highlight. As a verb, it means to make something stand out, to draw attention to it. As a noun, it means the most memorable part of something.
I'd like to highlight 3 points in your essay. The cleft structure highlights the most important word. And the highlight of my day was your visit, Jake.
Ah, thanks Emma. The highlight of my day was definitely teaching with you. You see how naturally these words flow into cleft sentences? What I want to highlight is exactly that.
The fourth word is stress. Stress can mean pressure, of course, but in our context it means to give special importance to something, very similar to emphasize.
I want to stress how useful these structures are. The teacher stressed the deadline 3 times. What I cannot stress enough is the value of daily practice.
What I cannot stress enough is a brilliant fixed phrase, by the way. Native speakers love it. It combines stress with a cleft structure to maximize the impact.
And finally, our fifth word is clarify. To clarify means to make something clearer, to remove confusion or doubt.
Could you clarify what you mean? I'd like to clarify one point. What I want to clarify is the difference between the two cleft types.
And we use clarify a lot in professional contexts. Just to clarify, the meeting starts at 3. What I'm trying to clarify is the procedure.
Excellent. Now let's review. Jake, give me 3 quick cleft sentences using our vocabulary.
Okay, what I want to emphasize is daily practice. It was the focus of the lesson that helped me understand. What I need to clarify is the difference between is and was.
Brilliant. And listeners, you can do the same. Try these patterns in your own life. What I love is, what I need is, it was someone who, it was something that.
Remember, the goal isn't to use cleft sentences in every utterance. The goal is to know when you really want to highlight something. Then, the cleft structure gives you that extra power.
Quick recap of the rules. 1. What clefts begin with what plus a subject and verb, followed by is or was. 2. It clefts begin with it was or it is, followed by the focus and a relative clause. 3. Don't mix the two types in one sentence.
And our 5 vocabulary words: emphasis, focus, highlight, stress, and clarify. All 5 describe exactly what cleft sentences do for your message.
That brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you so much for joining us. Practice these structures aloud, and you'll start hearing them everywhere.
In our next lesson, B204, we'll look at mixed conditionals. Sentences like if I had studied harder, I would be working in London now. They mix past and present, and they're incredibly useful for talking about regrets and imaginary situations.
It's a fantastic topic, and we can't wait to share it with you. Until then, keep practicing, stay curious, and remember, what really matters is consistency.
See you next time, everyone. Bye for now.
Goodbye, and happy learning.